As I'm speaking and as you think about what you're going to hear over the course of today, I want to pick up on two themes that Pastor Harris said. And one is overcoming our fear. And a lot of the issue and conversation around mental health and illness has to do with that basic thing. Can we overcome our fear to have the necessary conversations and reach into communities that are so desperately in need? And the second thing that he said, which really resonated with me and is really something that I am going to be striving for in everything that we do, particularly around public policy, is to see ourselves in our neighbors. If we can reach across the divides and see the commonality in each other, there is nothing that we can't accomplish. There's no problem that we can't solve. The talent is everywhere. It's just having the will and the determination, but most importantly, the empathy to see each other in ourselves. So thank you, Peter, for that marvelous introduction, and thank all of you for being here. Now, before I go on, let me just say a few words about Patrick Kennedy. After 8 terms in Congress, Patrick could have done literally anything. But it says something about who he is as a person, that he has chosen to use his experience, his passion, and the power of his family's legacy to make particular differences in people's lives, and particularly the emphasis on mental health and mental well-being. It really says a lot, and we are grateful for his leadership. And people know that I'm a history buff, so I have to throw in a couple historical references. It shouldn't be lost on any of us that Patrick's uncle, President John F. Kennedy, signed in 1963 the first federal mental health legislation in our nation's history. That legislation, the Community Mental Health Act, changed the way we talk about and treat mental illness. Likewise, the Mental Health Parity and Addiction Equity Act of 2008 that Patrick Kennedy tirelessly championed nearly a half century later, moved the needle even further in how we think about and treat mental health. There is not a family in America who is not touched by issues related to mental health and mental illness and addiction. This affects all of us in our homes, our workplaces, and in our communities. And yet, because of the stigma that has too long surrounded mental health, it has often been more convenient and expedient to look the other way. Patrick and the Kennedy Forum are helping change that, and we also need to embrace that change ourselves. I want to thank everyone here. I want to let everyone here know that Chicago will be doing its part as well, and that you have a friend and an ally and a champion in City Hall. As I said throughout my campaign, my administration will work to improve our city's mental health system to benefit all Chicagoans. When I am out in neighborhoods, particularly when I'm out on the street at night, talking to young men and women in neighborhoods that are plagued by economic disparity, but also by violence, what I know is that we have an absolute right and obligation to make sure that we're providing the kind of services that are necessary to uplift the quality of life for people in those neighborhoods. It is the most distressing thing as a mother to see young people, young children, where the light is starting to go out because of the level of trauma that they are experiencing every single day as their norm in neighborhoods. We absolutely cannot accept that. We cannot accept that. But we have to lead, and I have to lead, and I am committed to doing just that. We will ensure that members of our community who are suffering from a range of trauma, a range of mental health issues, get the resources and support that they need. And we will be looking beyond the landscape of Chicago's own city clinics. While we need to ensure our clinics are as strong as possible, we also need to examine the entire system within the ecosystem of mental health services to make sure that no one in any neighborhood goes without care because of lack of access to resources. It is a system that includes our community-based health care providers, as well as our hospitals and other private providers. And you know this, many of the people who are involved in this work are in the room today, and we will continue to partner with you. Our mission is to transform that system into one that delivers the best services to people most in need. Across Chicago, we have remarkable, dedicated doctors, nurses, psychologists, social workers, and other professionals serving those of us facing mental health challenges and addiction. This work not only helps patients, it also lifts up businesses, organizations, and entire communities that benefit from a strong mental health social safety net. But we are clearly not where we need to be. Despite there being 250 publicly accessible locations across our city, only half of Chicago's adults who report serious psychological issues say that they are receiving treatment. And we know that's not getting at the broader community of trauma so many people are facing today. Meanwhile, some clinics report long waiting lists, others report none at all. These discrepancies are unacceptable and reflect a system in need of wholesale reexamination and repair. A truly effective healthcare system needs to be collaborative, coordinated, and affordable in order for individuals to be connected to the services that they need when they need them. That is why during my first 100 days in office, I have directed my team to present to me options to increase mental health resources and access for all Chicagoans. Now, we will not be, thank you. We will not be starting with a blank piece of paper because a lot of that work is already being done. We will be drawing upon the resources and expertise and talent of people in this room and across the city and making sure that we're forging a network of real solutions so we can provide care. We will explore the integration of healthcare to serve the whole person, regardless of age, insurance, or income status. We'll examine how to coordinate our city's mental health system by linking more people to existing services, and we will create a plan that is data-driven. Because in order to ensure that the right services are getting to the right people, we need to know exactly what's going on in our communities. And that's done with ongoing assessment to ensure services are continually improved and adjusted to meet the needs of people. We will also be examining how we can fund services to ensure that we have needed flexibility to fill in the system's gaps at any given time. These gaps in psychiatry and severe mental illness treatment, as well as support for victims of gun violence, sexual assault, and formerly incarcerated. Those are all people that are in most need, but we need to make sure that we have a system of care that reaches everyone who needs it. And finally, we will be working with our partners in state government to fund and increase access for effective mental health services. And as I said in my inaugural address just a few weeks ago, we are each other's business. And let me say, we must be each other's business. And standing up for our residents in need, including those in need of mental health treatment, is our business and our calling as a city. I look forward to working with the men and women of the Kennedy Forum, as well as other elected officials, policymakers, and professionals in this room to ensure our vision for mental health becomes a reality for all Chicagoans. And I'll be happy if we come back a year from now and report that we have done our work and that what we have done in Chicago can and should be a model for the nation. I am totally committed to this work, and we will get it done for our citizens, for our employees, for all those in need, particularly our first responders and our children in neighborhoods that are under siege. Thank you very much.